The lobbying that has put us where we are with these fat fucking whores up in Washington who are just feeding the game.
Yeah, getting fucking rich on the tit of society. They don't care. They literally don't care. When people realize that they don't care, and the Democrats are going to eventually realize that. Republicans are starting to realize a lot more, and you're seeing a lot more Republicans just say to hell with the whole entire process, and they're becoming more libertarian. You know, you're seeing a whole lot of this. And eventually, I don't know if it's going to be in our lifetime, Lee, if the Republic even lasts that long at this point, but we're going to see more than two parties in this country, and we're going to have a true outsider win someday, and it's going to really change everything.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm completely with you. And I guess that's where ultimately where my frustration lies, right? It's fascinating. It's literally fascinating that this has gone on and it's continuing to go. Like what I saw with the memo to me is mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. If based on the scope and the scale of what the memo should actually mean, right? It should be a mainstream, like I should turn on my Twitter and I shouldn't have to look at WikiLeaks going, see, I told you so, which is basically what they tweeted when it came out. Instead, I'm not seeing it in the feed for anybody other than the Foxes and the Wikipedias and those sites. And that literally bothers me.
Here you go. I'm going to read you a quick list, Lee, of some of the reporters that were involved with the Clintons, okay? And this is from WikiLeaks. You can pop on there, check it out anytime anyone wants. Check it out. From ABC, you have Cecilia Vega. ABC, David Muir. ABC, Diane Sawyer. ABC, George Stephanopoulos. ABC, John Carl. Bloomberg, John Heilman. Bloomberg, Mark Halperin. CBS, Nora O'Donnell. CBS, Vicki Gordon. CNN, Brianna Keeler. CNN, David Chalian, CNN, Gloria Borger, CNN, Jeff Zeleny, CNN, John Berman, CNN, Kate Bolden, CNN, Mark Preston, CNN, Sam Feist, Daily Beast, Jackie Kucinich, GPG, not too familiar with what that is, Mike Feldman, Huffington Post, Whitney Snyder, Moore, Betsy Fisher Martin, MSNBC, Alex Wagner, MSNBC, Beth Fooey, MSNBC, Phil Griffin, MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, MSNBC, Rachel Rakusin, NBC, Savannah Guthrie, New Yorker, Ryan Leza, New York Times, Amy Chozick, New York Times, Gail Collins, New York Times, Jonathan Martin, New York Times, Maggie Haberman, New York Times, Pat Healy, People, Sandra Sobaraj Westfall, Politico, Glenn Thrush, Politico, Mike Allen, Vice, Alyssa Mastromonaco, and Vox, John Allen. All of you that I just called out, do your fucking jobs.
Yeah. Or at least pretend to. Look,
enough is enough.
Look, I'm okay with phoning it in. Just make it a blip. Make it a page 3 story. Not forget it altogether.
But the most galling part is they get up there and they patronize us with the way, oh, it means nothing, it's a nothing burger, as if the Fourth Amendment doesn't mean anything at all. Like as if it's okay for the government just to spy on any American they want willy-nilly with no big deal. Considering the FISA court, they approve 99.7% of the requests put before them. And keeping that in mind, they turned down 2 requests into the Trump campaign before they had the FBI actually got one to go through. So what does that tell you? If there's been 12 turned down and 2 turned down in this one investigation, to me that has a little bit of an odor.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. I don't know. I'm completely, and I've actually come to the conclusion that there's nothing I can do about it. My voice can't be heard. I mean, doing this show is great, but truthfully, it's a drop in the bucket.
It is. And, eventually what's going to have to happen for me, it's something that I've been trying to put off for a very long time, is eventually I'm going to have to run for office. And it's going to be the only way, run for office locally and then, figure out what's going to go on a national scale, because it's one thing to sit around and hoorah and rally the troops, but it's, sometimes you got to put your money where your mouth is, and you just need to step up to the plate if you feel like you can make a difference. And I just want some sanity brought back to the discussion. That's all I'm asking for, and we're not even getting that. So maybe it's a good thing. Maybe I'm sure there's bunch of other Americans just like me who've, private citizens who just want to live their lives and be comfortable and provide for their families and, and experience the joys that the American dream has always provided for Americans. But instead, we're here. We're doing this podcast where I'm battling against social cultural Marxists on a regular basis, just about in every conversation I have. And it shouldn't be like that. We should be able to respect each other's opinions, and we should be able to have nice, robust debates without calling each other names. But we've devolved into this point now where it's blood. It's almost gladiatorial games at this point.
Right. And that's what it's become. You're either with me or against me. And that's
there's no more like nuanced thinking where, all right, well, I guess what? If I walk into a room full of conservatives and I say to them, look, guys, I believe that all drugs should be legalized. How do you think that is going to they're not going to like that very much, but I have my own reasons for believing things like that. The drug epidemic has affected me personally and my family. I've lost, members of my family to overdoses of heroin because it was too potent. If drugs were legalized and they could have went to the pharmacy or to their doctor and got the same drug, they would still be with us more than likely. Just because somebody has a drug problem doesn't make them a criminal. So I walk into a room of conservatives, they're like, what, are you crazy? And then I walk into a room of progressives and I'm like, well, look, you guys are totally destroying the Fourth Amendment. You guys are engaged in 8 wars across the world. And I'm booed out of the room and I'm a white nationalist for that viewpoint, where obviously I care way more about minorities if I want drugs to be legalized, considering what it would do to the minority neighborhoods. We all know the war on drugs is the most racist thing ever instituted in this country. Who does it affect? Disproportionately affects poor people and minorities. We know that, and that's why they instituted it.
I'm with you. And I guess that's what it's about. I guess picking a side will keep us diverted from the truth of what's really going on around us.
Yeah, and the name of the show is perfect for the way I feel. Change the narrative. Don't just accept the narrative because it's comfortable to accept that way of thinking in a debate with somebody or in a conversation with somebody. If somebody says something blatantly wrong and you know it's wrong and you know for a fact it's wrong, you can pull out your phone and source it. It's not 1975 anymore. So debates can end real quick nowadays. If you can source it, do it. Don't let people get away with their nonsense. And I say that to everybody, and especially against Trump supporters as well. There's a lot of claptrap from Trump supporters that's a bunch of BS, and I call them out at every turn. I'm not a guy who even really supported Donald Trump. I've worked for Rand Paul's campaigns every single time he's run. I voted for Rand Paul. But guess what? What Donald Trump has done since he's been in office is light years ahead of what I would have gotten under Hillary Clinton. And to tell you the truth, he's winning me over to the point of not being a fan and someone who's ever going to carry water for the guy, but I highly respect his political maneuvering, and I highly respect the fact that this man has stood tall before everything that they've had to throw at him, and he's come out on top. That, what we call that? That's called a winner who's known how to navigate the waters of the cutthroat capitalism world.
Yeah, I don't know how much credit to actually give him at the end of the day, other than him just being he's doing a very good job. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to shit on it. He doesn't have a tremendously fantastic track record of being able to maintain very large budgets and very large.
Oh, for sure. And that's all these politicians. He fits in perfectly because when they kick the can down the road, he'll come in. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I loved Ronald Reagan. You know what I mean? Ronald Reagan's one of my political I don't want to say idols because I don't idolize anybody in politics besides Ron Paul and Rand Paul. But I really appreciate what Ronald Reagan was able to do as far as destroying the Soviet Union without firing a shot. But boy, did we kick the can down the fucking road on the budget.
Yeah, I'm with you. I completely agree about that statement. I guess we could turn the page because this just came out and I'm looking at it right now. Hashtag breaking news. Autopsy found by Las Vegas shooter Stephen Paddock anti-anxiety drug in his system. This literally just in as we're recording. The autopsy found Las Vegas shooter Stephen Paddock had anti-anxiety drugs in his system, but was not under the influence of them and was otherwise healthy. Wait, what? Should I read that sentence again? Because it's almost amusing. He had anti-anxiety drugs in his system, but was not under the influence of them. Why does that sentence sound diametrically backwards-ish?
it's just once again them playing with the news. They can't just tell the truth.
So he had anti-anxiety drugs in his system.
Residually from 3 days ago, but while he was firing on everybody, he wasn't on any drugs, which I kind of probably agree with. I mean, if you're on a bunch of anti-anxiety medicine, I don't know if you've ever taken Xanax or anything, but the last thing I want to do is walk around.
Yeah, no, I get that. The autopsy revealed in response to a lawsuit brought by the Associated Press and the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Good for them. It showed signs of he had benzodiazepines in his system.
Yeah.
But said because the substances were found in his urine and not in his blood, Paddock was not under the influence of medication. Okay, for those of you wondering, benzos, that's pretty heavy shit. This dude's,
Valium.
Yeah, this is heavy duty. Xanax would fall under that category. That's pretty heavy shit.
They were 10 milligram tablets too. So he had a prescription for 50 10 milligram tablets. And you get yourself a nice little fucking vacation. You take a couple of those and have a brewski.
Okay, so now we know that he was popping Valium at the Mandalay Bay.
Yeah,
Why are we piecemealing this thing out? 5 years from now, I just realized it today because, as I said, I was having the conversation with my fiance where she's like, the general public really probably couldn't handle the truth 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'd probably start killing each other. I said, I would like to believe differently than that, but it's probably fairly close to the truth. The reality is, I don't think we can handle having it all fed to us at once, especially in a litigious country that we're in. The problem, I'll say one of our biggest problems, we got too many fucking lawyers, right?
Group 100%.
So if I'm the Mandalay Bay group, right? Is that MGM? That's the MGM group, right?
MGM Mandalay is owned by the MGM.
Right. If I'm the MGM group, right, and I'm watching literally the Mandalay Bay fucking tank in front of my eyes, the crown jewel of our resorts, right? It's fucking going in the toilet. And for those of you who don't know, it's going in the fucking toilet. Like, they're doing anything they can think of doing to get people in there. Good example, this Saturday in Vegas, you can steal a spot at the Mandalay Bay for about $80 or $90 on a Saturday night in peak travel. I mean, that's crazy this time of year.
Hey, Lee, I just got a text from my source.
Yeah.
And he's saying right now that Peter Strzok knew that the Hillary camp used BleachBit to delete the emails the week they were deleted. And it's breaking in Gateway Pundit as well.
Right, but it's not going to be picked up by anybody else. It's going to just be on one side, and therefore we're just crazy whack jobs talking about it.
Holy cow, that's insane to know that the guy that exonerated Clinton knew that she BleachBit her fucking emails. What an insane world we're living in.
Yeah.
I mean, here I feel like, I forget the senator's name or the congressman's name during Watergate. What did the president know, and when did he know it? That's how I feel right now. Do we have a deep throat amongst us? I mean, are there any journalists with?
But again, we're at the same statement though, right? Because we're the only ones who know it, or we're the only ones who are talking about it. First of all, we hate blacks, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Right. That's what that means. If you want to read that and go with that story, it means that you are a white supremacist and you hate all races. Right out of the gate.
The second you step out of the echo chamber, if you're one step left of Stalin, you might as well be Hitler. And that's the way they're operating at this point. And they've had a bit of success doing it because they've been able to use their bully pulpit to speak people down. But you have people that are fighting back. You guys have guys like Mike Cernovich who won't stand for it. There's people that just won't stand for it. And you have even professors like Jordan Peterson, who is just completely and utterly going to town, beating down, the whole entire militant feminism movement. So there's people that are fighting back against it now. And I feel like doing things like this on this podcast and letting people, disseminating the information to people and letting them come to their own conclusions, as opposed to, slanting it and saying, all right, well, this is just the truth, and not giving any sources or telling anybody where they got their information. Or it's just, I think that we're moving towards a point where we're going to be more enlightened as a society because of things like the internet. But I think you're right. I think your fiance is right. There's just, if we were ever
we can't handle it.
There's no way. The people
No
will go
way.
insane. It would be like a modern day Lord of the Flies
Right.
on an epic level.
Right. We can't. And if not, you're going to sue the shit out of somebody. You're going to find some reason to hire a lawyer. Look, this is what I was saying. If I'm